Hi everyone, my name is Trevor Tay. I'm from 116 Success Rover Crew, and during this summer I brought 10 of the Rover Scouts went to Malaysia to explore Malaysia for 17 days. During the trip they had a lot of fun, and so right now today we are going to present you the video.
I first heard about the trip after it was advertised to like the Rovers, and they kind of needed more people. So basically what Trevor did was he asked the venture company and he kind of marketed it, and it sounded really appealing to us. So he talked about all the food and all the adventure and everything that we were able to learn there. So after a few months of him trying to persuade us into going, I decided to go.
Yep, and for me, I was actually introduced to the idea by my cousin, Eric. And it was actually a very impulsive decision. Like, I was doing homework and then I had the option of going to Malaysia, so I was like, yeah, sure, why not? You know? Yeah, I didn't really have anything to do in the summer. I didn't have any classes, so I decided to go to Malaysia. It would be my first time traveling internationally, and it's very exciting, and without my parents as well. So that's why I chose to go.
Nikita asked me if I'd like to go on a trip to Malaysia with Scouts, and so that's how my integration into the Rovers started for their international service trip of 2015.
I was still in the troop, and Trevor always talked about bean sprouts, so I kind of had to go to see if he was making things up, because every time he described the music, they're really different. They're just like shorter and they're fat and they're juicy, and you have to try it. And I was like, why would there be bean sprouts that are shorter, fatter, and juicier and only found in Ipoh? So I had to go.
So I decided to go with the Malaysia trip because I thought it would be a great experience to learn new things and also to meet new friends, and especially to travel out of the country without my family, just with some friends and scout friends.
And yeah, I decided to go on this trip because I've been on scouting trips before that have taken me outside of BC, and I've gotten really good experiences from it. And there's a lot of things that happen to you as a person. There's a lot of personal growth what happens when you travel and see new things.
One of my most memorable experiences is creating a new bond with everyone, not just everyone in 116, but like other people that are from different countries. Like Brandon, he came over from the States, and also we got to meet a lot of new people from Malaysia, and there were a lot of friends that we met, and they're pretty unforgettable because they taught us a lot of new things.
Right, so my most memorable experience was actually the Terra Tree House in the Cameron Highlands. I actually got, it's not every day that I can tell somebody that you slept in a tree house for 5 nights. I think that's something that's super amazing and something that I will always have with me. And actually, while I was there, I learned a lot. I learned a lot of different skills. I learned how to farm. What else did I learn? I learned how to weave leaves together for a roof, and I also did a little bit of cooking, mostly chopping up vegetables and stuff. I don't really do that at home, so that was pretty cool. And yeah, I think that was the most memorable experience for me, and also doing the jungle trail there at the Terra Tree House, and hiking the jungle trail with a machete in one hand, I think it was pretty dangerous, but I actually have a scar from it. So, I'll probably always remember my experience at the Terra Tree House.
Gosh, there's so much that we experienced that was brand new. For me, it was really the cultural shift of it, because I've grown up here all my life, and it was my first international trip. So seeing the different landscape, the different cultures, the people, just the ambience and the noise of the different cities was also new, and really kind of pushed me to be more adaptable and learn what I could do and what I could take. So that was really interesting.
For me, I like just being with everyone because it's really different when you're on a trip. It's different to interact with people when you see them every day, day and night, 24 hours a day. I also really liked interacting with the locals and learning how life is there, because it's just so different from how it is here. And I've never really had the opportunity to interact with locals of a country like that before, so it was a nice, new, and different experience.
One of my most memorable experiences was staying in the treehouse up in the Cameron It was a very interesting experience because you got to get away from the city, and their climate was very similar to here in Vancouver, and for just not being able to do anything and just enjoy nature, to be secluded, and to help out with farm, and do interesting things like weaving leaves. It was all just a very interesting experience that got me really in touch with nature.
My memorable food would be, we didn't have it often, but we had it. It was just from this truck in the parking lot, and it looked pretty rusty, but then we just went with it, and it's like shaved ice. It's called chendol, and it's with all this sugary syrup and like this green stuff that looks like worms, but it's actually so good. So that's my most favorite food there.
For me, it would be eating Hawaiian fried rice out of a pineapple. I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know, just because I ate it out of a pineapple, which made it all like much better, I guess. And yeah.
We ate about 6 meals a day, so there was a lot of food. We ate, I guess top 3. First the bean sprouts. I guess Nikita and I would both agree for that. And then we had this giant crepe of roti, doused in condensed milk, and that has to take second place for me. And then oyster omelet. Those are pretty popular, so that's my top 3 favorite foods from the trip. But everything was fantastic.
I had the same 2, bean sprouts and the roti tissue, which is the condensed milk thing. And then the last one is tied between satay and the Hainanese chicken, hoilam gai.
One thing that Trevor had told us beforehand, told me, was that Malaysia has leeches. And of course, I kind of freaked out hearing it about here, and I didn't expect to get bit by one, but I did. That was definitely not something I would like to do again, but it happened. They're real, they exist. So yeah, that was the unexpected thing from the trip.
Yeah, so same thing for me. Vanessa and I were the only 2 people who got sucked by leeches. We say leeches, but we only got sucked by 1 each, so we're kind of lucky. This was during the jungle trail in Johor, and near the end of it when we were exiting,
the very end.
Yeah, it was literally the very end. We thought we were clear and safe from leeches because we were checking all the time, right? Like checking our legs. We were wearing shorts out. So we were kind of scared, and I guess near the end of the trail was a bit more moist, maybe kind of getting dry. So leeches started to come out. So one of the things we had to do was actually chew this disgusting bitter leaf. It's actually magical. It's kind of fuzzy and weird, and it tastes disgusting. But the minute you put it onto a leech bite, it actually stops it from bleeding. And I was being dumb because I was like, oh, let's just put a Band-Aid on it. It'll be fine. It looks like it stopped bleeding for the last half hour. So the minute I took off the leaf, it started bleeding like crazy again, and it wouldn't stop.
It was a really magical jungle moment when you're putting a leaf in your mouth and chewing it and then applying it to your own wound. There's something very, I don't know, primal about it. It was cool.
Yeah, the leeches went from like this to this on me, and they were like this bad. It wasn't that bad, but I mean, it's still kind of scary when something's sucking all your blood and it won't stop bleeding.
For me, one of the best skills that I learned, well, at the same time it was more challenging, was weaving the birch and palm leaves. So while we were at the tree house, they taught us how to do these weavings that would help make roof fixtures for their makeshift like houses and whatnot. So it was a very challenging experience because everyone else was able to do it quite efficiently, and then for me it would take like an hour just to make one of them, and everyone else would have done like 3 by then. And for me it was a lot of frustration at the time because I felt like there was a certain standard that I had to work up to, and I was lacking, and I was behind. And for me it was I needed a lot of assurance that everyone has their own everyone puts in their best efforts, and what you do is good enough. Like the Scout motto is, just do your best. And really appreciated. So while we were in KL, we visited the WUSM Center, that's the World Organization of Scouting Movement. They had a really new World Scout office there that just opened up a couple months ago before we went there. And it was really awesome because not a lot of scouts have visited that office, that specific office before either. And so they had a lot of cool artifacts that they had around the office. As well, we just watched some videos on how WUSM is, making scouting more of a world movement. And we got to talk with some of their employees, I guess, or those that were in charge of connecting with these groups like us that were traveling from overseas to connect on a scouting level. And so it was really awesome to just have a bit more of a sense of how world scouting is as opposed to just our local scouting, which is what we're used to here in Vancouver.
Alright guys, so here comes to the end. So I hope you all enjoy the videos, and if you want to talk about more about Malaysia, you can always call me, Facebook me, text me,